A quiet night on a desolate highway just outside Boise, Idaho. Sergeant Nick Grayson rolls through the darkness in his police cruiser, the hum of the engine his only company. His mind's a mess, tangled with twisted views of the world, shaped by years of prejudice and gut instincts he never questioned. Then he spots it, a gray SUV parked on the shoulder, still as a ghost. He doesn't hesitate. Investigation mode kicks in. What he doesn't know? The guy behind the wheel is no ordinary driver. This is Devin Miles, an undercover DEA agent, and he's about to turn Nick's night upside down. Nick pulls in tight, flips on the cruiser's lights, bathing the scene in a harsh red-blue glow. He steps out, hand hovering near his holster, a habit carved deep from years on the beat. He strides to the driver's window, peering in. Devin sits there, cool as ice, rocking a hoodie and cargo pants. He takes a slow breath, steeling himself. He's been here before. He knows the drill. Things can go south fast, especially for a black man like him. The stage is set. Tension's brewing. This is where it all begins. The night thickens as Nick closes in on the SUV's window. His boots crunch the gravel, posture rigid, radiating control. He wraps the glass with his flashlight, a sharp signal for Devin to lower it. The window hums down, and Nick's vibe shifts, just a flicker. His eyes tighten, scanning Devin like a hawk sizing up prey. He demands license and registration, his voice cutting through the silence, cold and clipped. Devin stays smooth, hands slow and steady as he passes the papers over. Tension simmers, but he keeps it locked down, face calm as stone. Nick pores over the documents, jaw clenched, suspicion practically dripping off him. He fires off a question. Where's Devin headed tonight? The words carry a sting, laced with doubt. Devin keeps it simple, says he's just driving home from a late shift, his tone level, unflinched. Nick leans in, eyes narrowing further, and lets his bias slip. He questions where Devin's really from, says he doesn't look like he fits here. The air turns thick, heavy with unspoken weight. Devin pauses, steadies himself, then hits back firm. He grew up right here in Idaho. Anything wrong with his papers, officer? The fuse is lit. The tension crackles as Nick's jaw locks tight, Devin's words hitting a nerve. This isn't just a traffic stop anymore. It's a powder keg ready to blow. Nick's biases clash hard against Devin's steady resolve, setting the stage for a reckoning. The Boise night holds its breath, waiting for the spark. Nick's temper flares, eyes burning as Devin refuses to buckle. He leans into the window, close enough to feel the heat, and snaps for Devin to step out, his growl low and dangerous. The air is electric, teetering on chaos. But Devin doesn't flinch. He shifts gears, takes a slow breath, and throws a curveball. He tells Nick to hold up, says he's got something to share. Nick freezes, caught off guard, his edge blunted for a split second. Devin's voice cuts through, calm but heavy with truth. He paints a picture, a 12-year-old kid watching his uncle stop for a busted light. It should have been nothing, a quick fix. Instead, it ends ugly. The cop slams him down, cuffs biting into wrists, all because a hand reaching for an ID looked like a threat. The story hangs there, raw and real, daring Nick to listen. Devin's words hit like a sledgehammer, splintering Nick's tough exterior. His shoulders loosen, just a fraction, but the cracks start to show. Doubt flickers in his eyes, defiance still clinging to the edges. As Devin's voice rolls on, Nick's mind reels back. He's a kid again in a dusty Idaho town, slurs tossed around like hellos, easy as breathing. His grandfather looms large, a local legend, hammering home lessons about certain people being born bad news. Those old echoes slam into Devin's truth, churning up a storm Nick can't ignore. He's torn. pinned between the past he's always known and the man staring him down now. Devin senses the shift, that tiny crack in the armor, and leans in hard. He tells Nick he joined the DEA to tear down the rot from within. Every day he fights to protect everyone, every single soul, no exceptions. But nights like this, they prove the battle's far from won. Nick's eyes widen, the DEA bombshell knocking him off his footing. He snaps back, voice sharp with disbelief, asking if Devin's messing with him. The ground's shifting fast under this Boise highway, and the reckoning's just getting started. The Boise night hums with tension as Devin lays it out cold and clear. He tells Nick this isn't a game. His DEA badge is real, and so is the oath cops take to shield every soul in this town, not just the ones they like. The words ignite a firestorm. What started as a traffic stop explodes into a brutal face-off. Bias versus duty, raw and unfiltered. Nick's backed into a corner, his world rocking hard. Devin's logic cuts deep, slicing through decades of beliefs, while Nick's own doubts claw at him. The pressure mounts, a vice tightening around his chest. He fights to stay steady, caught between the badge he wears, the lessons he grew up on, and the hard truth glaring back at him. Cut to a quiet house in Boise's North End. Emily Harper's on edge, perched in the kitchen. The clock ticks past midnight, Nick's way overdue from patrol. Worry carves lines into her face. She paces, phone clutched tight, a lifeline to a husband who's slipping away. The night's unraveling fast and something big's brewing out there on that lonely highway. The Boise night drags on, heavy and restless. Emily Harper stands in her quiet kitchen, phone trembling in her grip. She dials Nick again, fourth time tonight. Nothing. Straight to voicemail. Her gut twists tighter. Nick's not the type to ghost, especially not in the graveyard shift. Shadows stretch across the room as her worry turns to dread. Desperate, she flips through her contacts, landing on Jake Monroe, an old college pal turned PI plugged into Boise PD. Her thumb hovers, then taps out a frantic text. She tells Jake she's losing it. Nick's late, unreachable. Can he dig around, make sure he's still breathing? The message flies off, and she waits, breath caught. Her mind spins back to Nick lately, his temper flaring fast, those biting comments that cut deep, the growing distance chilling their home. She gets it, the job's brutal. But now, it's warping him into someone she barely knows, and it's got her scared stiff. The phone buzzes, Jake's quick on the draw. He says he'll hit up his contacts, asks if she's got any clue where Nick's patrolling tonight. Emily fires back what scraps she has, then lays it bare. She tells Jake she's terrified. Nick's not the same. The way he talks about certain people, it's poison seeping into their family. She's stuck, helpless, no idea how to pull him back. Out there, the highway hums. Something's brewing, and Emily feels the storm closing in. The Boise night pulses with unease. Jake feels the heft of Emily's panic and fires back a lifeline. He tells her he's got a guy, Devin Miles, a DEA agent who's been tearing into cop community messes. He's on it, looping Devin in fast. Emily doesn't know it, but Jake's already on the line with Devin, sounding the alarm. He warns him about a potential clash with Nick, spills Emily's fears. Nick's edge lately, the vibe that he's in deep trouble. Back at home, Emily's a wreck, nerves shot. She paces, wondering if this night could rewrite everything, save her family, salvage Nick's career. She's clinging to hope, praying that dark highway doesn't swallow him whole. Out there, Devin's in the thick of it, facing Nick's hard stare. His phone buzzes, a quiet jolt in his pocket. He steals a glance. A DEA buddy's text lights up the screen. It says Nick Grayson might be tangled in their smuggling case, warns Devin's cover could blow. His heart kicks up a gear. This isn't just a stop anymore. It's a live wire. That drug ring he's been chasing across Idaho for months? It might be staring him down right now. Devin keeps his cool, doesn't blink. He shifts, locks eyes with Nick, and throws a curve. He asks Nick point blank if he's got kids. The air tightens. The game's changing fast. The Boise highway hums under a tense sky. Nick freezes, caught off guard as Devin digs into the personal. He grumbles out a reply, admitting he's got a daughter, then fires back, asking what that's got to do with anything. Devin doesn't flinch. He leans in close, voice steady, pushing hard. He asks Nick what kind of world he wants for her, a place where character counts or where skin color calls the shots. For a heartbeat, Nick's walls crumble. His little girl's face flashes in his mind, bright with the dreams he's held tight. But the moment's gone fast. He claws back to his old self, gripping the loyalty of his crew, the badge he's worn like armor. He snaps at Devin to leave his family out of it, hand twitching toward his holster. Devin catches the move, muscles tightening. He knows this could explode any second. The air's a live wire, crackling with danger. He's got to break through, crack the shell of Nick's deep-seated biases. He keeps his cool, voice low and deliberate. He tells Nick he's not here to threaten him. Not at all. This is about tomorrow, he says, about the mark they leave for the kids coming up. The stakes loom large, shadows stretching long across that lonely stretch of road. One wrong step, and it all goes up in flames. Devin's playing a high-stakes game, and the clock's ticking. The Boise night hangs heavy, shadows dancing across Nick's face. A war rages inside him, plain as day. Part of him itches to listen, to let Devin's words sink in. But the weight of years, hard lessons from the streets, locker room oaths, keeps him locked tight. He's torn clean in two. The badge he's lived by battles the raw truth Devin's dragging into the light. The air thickens, electric with strain. This isn't just a routine stop anymore. It's a mirror held up to the ugly tangle of cops and race in America, reflecting every crack and scar. They're balanced on a razor's edge, teetering toward chaos. Neither knows which way it'll tip. Devin feels the moment shift, senses the fault line running through Nick. He takes the shot. Locking eyes, he drops his voice low, heavy with warning. He tells Nick what's coming next could put them both in the ground. The words land like a punch, reverberating through the silence. The highway stretches out, dark and endless, a witness to the storm brewing between them. One move now could spark it all off. The fuse is short and the clock's ticking down fast. The Boise highway crackles as Devin drops the bomb. He lays it out cold. He's DEA, deep in the hunt for a smuggling ring festering right inside Nick's apartment. Nick's eyes pop wide, disbelief flashing hard. He demands proof, tells Devin to flash a badge. Devin stays cool, says it's stashed in the dash. He's undercover, can't risk blowing it. Instead, he rattles off names: Delgado, Hayes, Klein. Nick's face goes pale. These aren't strangers. They're his crew, guys he's clocked years with, shared coffee and shifts. His mind reels, scrambling to catch up. Devin presses on, voice steady, relentless. He tells Nick they're linked to a drug pipeline snaking through Boise, covering for heavy hitters downtown. He's got evidence, rock-solid proof. Nick's world spins off its axis. The force he's bled for, the system he's trusted blind, it's all crumbling, rotten to the core. Fury flares in his chest, tangled with doubt, betrayal cutting deep. He shoots back, says Devin's spinning lies, but his voice cracks, shaky and thin. The truth sinking in, heavy as lead. That lonely stretch of road bears witness. The stakes just skyrocketed, and nothing's the same anymore. The Boise night turns frigid as Devin fires back. He wishes it were a lie, he says, but Nick knows it's real. He's seen the signs, Those odd gaps, shady moves Nick shrugged off. His mind races now, rewinding to late-night vanishings, whispered huddles, buddies flaunting cash they had no business having. The pieces snap together, dark and ugly, a picture he can't unsee. Nick's reeling, gut twisting as Devon's truth hits like a freight train. Then, headlights slash through the black ahead. Both men pivot, nerves jangling, eyes locked on the unknown rolling in. Tension spikes, thick and sharp. Nick's hand hovers by his gun, fingers itching. He's split down the middle. Loyalty to his boys in blue warring with the brutal reality Devon just unloaded. The highway stretches out, cold and silent, a crossroads under the stars. Is this DEA guy for real? Or should he stick with the crew he's always known? The car creeps closer, engine growling low. Time's up. Nick's got seconds to choose. Stand with the truth tearing his world apart, or cling to the crooked system he's lived and breathed for years. The night holds its breath, waiting. The Boise standoff burns hot, teetering on the edge. Then Emily steps into the frame, a wild card Nick never saw coming. She's been working behind the scenes, linked to Devon through Jake, her old college lifeline. Fear for her family's tomorrow drives her. She opens up to Devon, spilling her soul in a text. She tells him Nick wasn't always this man. The job twisted him, bent him dark. Now she's terrified of the shadow he's casting over their daughter, scared for the future he's wrecking. Out on that empty highway, Devon feels her words slam into him, heavy and real. This isn't just about smashing a smuggling ring or cracking one cop's stubborn skull. It's bigger, a fight to save a family, to snap a chain of prejudice that could stretch across generations. Devon grips that truth tight, a weapon in his hands. He makes his move, bold and risky. He'll hit Nick where it hurts, not as a badge, but as a father, a husband. It's a Hail Mary play under the Idaho stars. One shot to douse the flames, or light the whole damn powder keg. The night leans in, watching close. The Boise night coils tight as Devon steps up, voice steady, rock solid. He calls out to Nick, says he's been in touch with Emily, his wife. She's up nights, he tells him, torn apart by the path Nick's on, terrified for their daughter's future. Nick's face twists, rage and disbelief warring fast. He bellows for Devon to back off his family, hand slamming down on his holster, ready to draw. Devon stands firm, unflinched. He pushes forward, says Emily reached out because she loves him, because she's watching this job, these twisted beliefs, eat away at him, at their home. He asks Nick point blank, is this the legacy he wants for his little girl? The words strike deep. Nick's tough shell splinters, his daughter's name a blade slicing through. He's reeling now, forced to stare down the wreckage of his choices. Devon feels the ground shift, knows he's walking a tightrope. One wrong move, and this brittle moment shatters, spiraling into chaos. But if he can hook into Nick's love for his family, there's a glimmer, a chance to turn the tide. The highway looms silent, a witness to the storm breaking wide open. The Boise night hums with a brutal choice cutting through the dark. Nick stands at the edge, stay safe in the warm grip of his old biases, or step onto the jagged path of truth for his daughter, for the cop he swore to be. The air snaps, tight, electric, as a police cruiser's growl rolls closer. Nick's face twists, a man ripped apart. His crew's pulling him one way, Devon's cold, hard facts yank him the other. He mutters, voice strained, that it's probably backup coming. He warns Devon to have a damn good tale ready. Devon's jaw locks firm. He leans in, urgent, telling Nick to listen close. Those guys speeding in, they're likely tied to the smuggling gig he's chasing. If they clock him, they're both toast. Nick's hand trembles, hovering near his gun, eyes darting from Devon to the headlights slicing the night. He demands to know how he can trust the stranger, doubt dripping raw. Devon fires back fast, says Nick doesn't need to trust him, just his own gut. He pushes Nick to think back. Those odd moments, the loose ends he ignored, signs something's rotten in his precinct. The cruiser screeches up behind Nick's ride, beams blasting the scene in harsh light. Two figures step out, faces lost in the glare. One calls out, asking if Grayson's good, hand resting easy on his piece. Nick knows that voice. Delgado, a name Devon dropped. His head spins, memories crashing in. Delgado ducking questions, evidence vanishing on his watch. The clock's ticking down. The Boise highway pulses with raw tension. Devon steels himself, braced for the worst. His eyes lock onto Nick's, a silent plea cutting through the night. Choose right, man. Choose right. Nick stands frozen, a man split down the middle. One road's paved with the easy trust of his squad. The other's rough, littered with Devon's brutal truth and a glimmer of hope for his daughter. Delgado and his shadow creep closer, boots crunching gravel. Nick's got one heartbeat to decide. This isn't just about tonight. It's his whole damn life on the line. Bullets could fly, sure, but the real stakes? Who he'll be when the dust settles, as a cop, as a man. He sucks in a sharp breath, resolve hardening. He turns, facing his crew, decision made. Delgado's nearly on him now, but Nick moves fast, stepping bold between Devon and the oncoming cops. He throws up a hand, a wall of warning. He tells Delgado to hold up, says he's got this locked down, voice steady even as chaos swirls inside. Delgado halts, eyes narrowing, suspicion flickering like a live wire. He questions Nick, says it looked dicey from a distance. Nick nods, cool as ice on the outside, masking the storm within. He calls it a routine stop, tells them there's no need for backup. Devon holds still, breath caught, knowing one twitch could snap this fragile thread. Delgado's rookie sidekick, Pratt, fidgets, restless. The night teeters, a powder keg under the Idaho stars, waiting for the spark. The Boise night crackles as Delgado throws out a line, says they got a call about a shady SUV lurking nearby. He asks if this is the one. Nick's mind kicks into overdrive. No call ever came. It's a bluff, a cheap shot to derail Devon's play. In a split second, buried memories flare up. Years of red flags he let slide, now blazing clear. A grim portrait of corruption snaps into view, undeniable and sickening. Nick shuts it down fast, tells Delgado no, this ain't the ride they're hunting. He doubles down, says they should roll back to base. He's got reports to file, weird stuff he's clocked lately. The air shifts, heavy and sharp. Delgado's hand twitches, brushing his gun, eyes narrowing. He presses Nick, wants to know what kind of odd stuff he's talking about. Nick stands tall, locked in now, no turning back. He fires back, says it's the kind of dirt the DEA would eat up, the kind that could torch half the precinct if it spills. Tension hums like a live wire. Delgado and Pratt trade quick glances, sizing up the moment. For a heartbeat, it feels like bullets could fly, the night ready to erupt. Then out of nowhere, Delgado backs off, says it's Nick's call. He tosses a warning, reminds Nick their family, asks if he'd really risk that. The words hang thick, a veiled threat. Nick doesn't flinch, eyes steady, holding the line. The Boise night exhales as Nick tracks Delgado and Pratt peeling away, tires screaming into the dark. Their cruiser's lights bleed out, leaving him alone with Devon under the cold Idaho sky. Nick turns, steel in his gaze, dread gnawing at his gut. He warns Devon to be legit. This move might have just sparked a wildfire. The standoff's over, but the clock's ticking down fast. Nick and Devon feel it, Delgado's crew won't waste time ratting to their dirty pals, painting targets on their backs. Devin cuts through the haze, says they've got to move now. His SUV's rigged with tech, he tells Nick. They're heading for a safe haven. Nick nods. Cop reflexes, kicking in sharp despite the chaos swirling inside. He asks about Emily, voice tight. Those guys might go after her next. Devin's on it, says his team's got her covered, no question. They peel out, engine roaring, tearing down the highway. Nick's phone buzzes nonstop, squad techs piling up, begging for answers. He doesn't glance down, eyes locked ahead, fixed on the road and the massive storm they're barreling into. The night's alive, pulsing with danger, and they're racing straight into the heart of it. The SUV rumbles into a rundown duplex on Boise's west side, tires crunching gravel under a fading night sky. Inside, Emily's waiting, stress carved deep into her face. She bolts to Nick, arms wrapping him tight, relief and fear crashing together. She whispers thanks to the heavens he's alive, says Jake's call had her picturing the worst. Nick pulls her close, the weight of his choice settling heavy. He tells her he's sorry for everything and swears they're setting it right. Devin steps in, voice low but urgent, cutting the moment short. He says time's slipping. They've got to grab every scrap of proof and package it for the DEA, fast. Hours melt into a haze. Nick unloads every dirty secret he's seen in the precinct. Devin layers in his hard-earned intel. Emily's quick mind weaves it all tight, stitching a damning story of corruption. Dawn breaks, painting the room gold. They've got a solid dossier ready to roll. But just as they gear up to move, tires scream outside, shattering the calm. Devin edges to the window, peers through the blinds. His words drop like a stone. They're here. The fight's not over. It's just kicking into high gear. Police cruisers swarm the duplex, boxing it in tight. Delgado and Pratt lead the charge, armed shadows storming the door. Inside, Nick, Devin, and Emily lock eyes, fear and fire flashing between them. They've got the proof to torch the whole corrupt mess, but survival's the first play. Boots thunder closer, shaking the floor. They brace hard, ready for the fight of their lives. Days later, the DEA drop looms downtown Boise. The air's thick, stakes sky high. Nick, Devin, and Emily stand outside the offices, hearts pounding, knowing this gamble could end them. They step toward the doors, the prize within reach, but Delgado and Pratt's crew materialize, cutting them off cold. Delgado steps up, voice low and menacing. He tells Nick to think twice, says he can still back out, pretend this night never happened, his hand brushing his gun like a threat. The street hums with tension, a showdown brewing under the Idaho sun. They're cornered, outnumbered, the evidence burning a hole in their hands. One wrong move and it's lights out. The clock ticks loud, every second a loaded gun. This isn't just about justice anymore. It's about making it out alive to tell the tale. The Boise sun beats down as Nick rises, unshaken, Emily's strength pumping through him. He faces Delgado, voice hard, telling him it's over. They're pushing through, no backing down. The air's ready to ignite, but Emily steps in smooth, her tone ice cold and unbreakable. She warns Delgado to think twice, says she's got it all on tape. She lifts her phone, hits play, clips roll, not just that highway showdown, but secret talks between crooked cops, raw and incriminating. Delgado's face drains, pale as death, the truth slamming him hard. Devin jumps the chaos, a quick signal cutting through. DEA agents burst from the shadows, swarming fast, cuffs snapping on wrists before the crew can blink. Inside the DEA offices, Nick steadies himself, ready to spill it all. His voice weaves with Devin's intel and Emily's recordings, sketching a grim mural of precinct decay. As he talks, the weight falls off. He's no longer a cog in a busted system, but a hammer smashing it clean. The room holds its breath. Then the big drop lands. The corruption's tentacles reach beyond the station, choking City Hall's top dogs. Boise's about to feel the shock waves, and they've just lit the fuse. Boise's dust settles, but the echoes linger loud. Nick steps into the wreckage, facing the fallout with a flicker of hope. The higher-ups tip their hats. Guts like that don't go unnoticed. But his past stumbles slap him with a suspension. He takes it on the chin, signs up for retraining, dives into outreach. He's hell-bent on becoming the cop he always should have been. Devin's star rises, his tenacity earning him stripes in the DEA. He's not slowing down, uses this chaos as a megaphone, screaming for cop community fixes that can't wait. Emily watches Nick's pivot with pride burning bright. She rolls up her sleeves, joins local crews stitching bridges between the badge and the overlooked. They walk out of the DEA building, shoulder to shoulder, Nick, Devin, Emily, a trio carved from the storm. The ground trembles under their feet. They've unleashed something massive, a ripple tearing through the justice system's core. This is no endgame. It's the opening shot, a crack toward real, honest fairness. The Boise skyline looms, a silent witness to the fight ahead. It's a long haul, no doubt. Gritty, messy, unrelenting. They're locked in, ready to push it all the way, no looking back.